It was shortly after 5 o'clock in the evening on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, when an ordinary late afternoon at the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport in Kentucky turned into a scene of tragedy. At approximately 5:15 p.m., a wide-body cargo aircraft operated by EP's Airlines scheduled as Flight 2976 lifted from the runway. It's bound for Honolulu. AP News +2, Reuters +2, within moments it became clear something had gone terribly wrong. Flames erupted on the left wing. A plume of thick black smoke ascended, and the aircraft, a McDonnell Douglas MD-11F freighter, crashed into the industrial area just south of the airport. Reuters +1 eyewitnesses described the scene as a fireball and huge explosion shook the surrounding neighborhoods. The crash site included more than just the aircraft itself. Nearby, businesses, among them a petroleum recycling plant and an auto parts facility, were struck by debris and damage. AP News +1, the death toll quickly climbed. At least 7 people were confirmed dead and 11 injured. Though officials emphasized the numbers could rise as rescue operations continued, AP News +1, 4 of those confirmed dead were not aboard the plane, underlining the impact on ground-level operations. AP News +1, from the moment the crash occurred, emergency services mobilized in full force. Firefighters fought blazes that raged across multiple structures. Police and federal aviation investigators secured the zone, and the airport imposed a shelter-in-place order for a 5-mile radius around the hub. Reuters +1, the fact that the airport is home to one of the biggest freight aircraft hubs in the U.S. The UPS Worldport facility added to the scale and implications of the event. AP News, for those inside the hub in the city of Louisville, the event was abruptly disruptive. The Worldport sorting center processes hundreds of thousands of packages each hour and runs over 300 flights per day. With that operation temporarily halted, ripple effects throughout logistics and supply chains emerged. AP News +1, meanwhile, local residents near the impact zone found themselves shaken by the magnitude of the explosion, the fires, and the uncertainty about damage and casualties. In the coming hours and days, the focus would turn to questions: what caused the engine fire or separation? Why did the aircraft fail to remain airborne? Are emergency response procedures adequate for such a hub? And what will the long-term impact be for freight operations, aviation safety, and the local community? In this expanded script, we'll explore the timeline of the crash, the technical investigation, the human stories of those affected, and how this ties into broader themes of operational risk, emergency preparedness, and community resilience. The day was routine until about 5:15 p.m. local time. Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. When the cargo jet departed from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport on a scheduled run to Honolulu, Politico +4 AP News, +4 AP News +4, as the aircraft climbed off the runway. Witnesses on the ground observed flames issuing from the left wing and a trailing plume of smoke signaling trouble in moments. Reuters: almost immediately the plane plunged back toward the ground, crashing into an adjacent industrial area, igniting massive fires and leaving a wide path of destruction. The Washington Post +2, AP News +2, within minutes of the impact, local emergency services were on scene. Fire trucks, rescue units, and law enforcement responded to the explosion, battling persistent fires at the crash site and the nearby buildings that were caught in the blast. Officials deemed the zone hazardous and issued a shelter-in-place order for a 5-mile radius around the airport, urging residents and businesses to remain indoors and shut off air intake systems. Reuters +1, the airport canceled all departures and arrivals as debris removal and damage assessment began, and the hub's operations were temporarily shut down. Politico +1, by the evening, authorities confirmed at least 7 deaths and 11 people injured. 4 of the deceased were on the ground, underscoring the crash's immediate impact on the community beyond the aircraft. AP News: the wreckage site covered multiple structures, including a petroleum recycling facility and an auto parts yard. AP News +1, amid this, the National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) and the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) moved swiftly to start an investigation. dispatching teams to secure flight data, control tower logs, and maintenance records. About UPS+1 residents in the surrounding neighborhoods described the moment of impact as a thunderous boom that shook the ground, followed by an orange glow. Black smoke and sirens flashing through the dusk. Businesses that were operational hours earlier found themselves with shattered windows or scorched roofs. The scale of the blast and the fuel on board the aircraft compounded the urgency of the response. As officials worked to contain fires and prevent secondary explosions, as the night wore on, command centers were set up for victims' assistance, reunification for families seeking information, and site security. The airline issued a statement acknowledging the crash, expressing sorrow and confirming cooperation with the investigation. About UPS US, meanwhile, the logistics hub operated by UPS in Louisville, one of the largest in its global network, suspended sorting operations that evening, highlighting that the event wasn't just a local crash, but one with broader implications. Yahoo! In short, what began as a standard departure turned within minutes into an emergency response involving fire, rescue, investigation, and community disruption. The timeline of key events, from takeoff to impact, to shelter orders, to damage containment, sets the stage for the deeper technical investigation, the human stories, and the operational fallout we will explore next. The aircraft involved in the accident was a McDonnell Douglas MD-11F, operated by UPS Airlines as Flight 2976 CAL signups 2976, departing from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport in Kentucky, bound for Honolulu, WHAS 11+3, Wikipedia +3, ABC 7 Los Angeles +3. The aircraft's tail number is listed as N259UP, originally delivered in 1991 as a passenger plane and later converted to a cargo configuration. Wikipedia +1, as is typical for long-haul freighter flights. This jet was carrying a significant load of fuel. Early reports indicate around 38,000 gallons. The Sun +1AS, the aircraft commenced its takeoff roll and climb. Eyewitness and video evidence showed that the left wing area was on fire or emitting smoke before the crash. The Sun +1 tracking data shared publicly suggests that the aircraft reached a very low altitude, roughly 1 feet above ground level, and aground. Speed of around 184 knots, about 211 mph, before it rapidly descended. Wikipedia +1, this sequence engine fire, very low climb performance. Loss of altitude has raised strong suspicion among investigators that an engine issue or possible separation of engine components may have been a primary factor. The investigation is being led by the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, with support from the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. Wikipedia +1, their first tasks include securing the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, recovering and cataloging wreckage, especially around the left engine and wing root area, capturing radar and air traffic control data, reviewing maintenance logs of the aircraft, and verifying the training and recent performance of the crew. This technical investigation will seek to determine whether a mechanical failure, a maintenance oversight, or possibly pilot reaction was the trigger, given the existence of a large fuel load. The fire that preceded or accompanied the crash would have had rapid escalation potential. Investigators will examine whether there was rapid fuel ignition, structural failure such as an engine separation or wing failure, or if external factors such as the proximity of on-ground industrial facilities to the runway contributed. The crash site included impact into a business just off the airport grounds, expanding the complexity of the investigation into ground damage and collateral risk. Louisville Public Media, the MD-11 has a long operational history in cargo service, but it is not immune to risk. Its design traits such as its 3-engine configuration, high takeoff fuel loads for long-haul sectors, and a shorter cabin sweep margin compared to newer freighters mean that margin for error is slimmer under emergency conditions. Investigators will likely compare this incident against past MD-11 cargo operations and prior incidents to see if systemic factors played a role. In short, the technical profile of both the aircraft and the event sets up a multi-layered investigation. mechanical, operational, procedural, and infrastructural. Ultimately, the findings will guide not just the cause of this accident, but also potential recommendations affecting cargo fleet operations. Regulatory oversight, emergency response protocols, and airport-adjacent hazard planning. We'll review those implications in upcoming sections,